Hold on, maybe we might get over the first starting soon because I've been seeing one. Is that good? Can we start? Don't talk super fast. Okay. We good? Yeah, let's start. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nolani.
And I'm Devin.
And we are interns here at Education USA Mexico City. And today our webinar will be about academic culture in the US. So let's get started. Here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so what is Education USA? We are a global network of advising centers funded by the US government, and we offer unbiased, accurate, and comprehensive information about the kind of institutions and higher education opportunities in the US. We offer free services and free access to introductory information on US study. We have 450 centers worldwide in 180 countries. And in Mexico, we have 26 centers. So if you're not here in Mexico City, make sure you check out our website to see which center is nearest to you. All right, so talking about academic culture. So the kind of institutions that you might want to study at in the US are community colleges and colleges and universities. First, we're going to establish the difference between these two kinds of institutions. So community colleges are public institutions. You can get your associate's degree there. You may also go to these institutions for 2 years and then transfer your credits to another university that will be a 4-year institution. They offer English programs as well and short-term technical training. So just keep in mind that community colleges are places where you will get certificates and associate's degrees rather than actual 4-year degrees. The community colleges, just like any other university or college, will have common spaces such as libraries or computer labs for you to work in, or do homework, or meet up with people after school. Also, community colleges are a great opportunity if you are trying to save a little bit of money and studying in the United States, because their tuition is often much, much lower than a 4-year university. Colleges and universities. This is where you will go to study your undergraduate or graduate degree. You may get a Bachelor's of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. The student population varies. So you might be at a university that has 3,000 undergrad students, or you might be at a university that will have 25,000 undergrad students. There are public and private opportunities in the United States, and there tends to be a diversity of students on campus, and that depends on the region that you're living in or the school that you go to, but oftentimes university campuses are very diverse in student backgrounds. These are the kind of, at colleges and universities, you tend to see the more typical college experience that you might see on TV or hear about or read about. So these are the kinds of institutions where that would happen. There tends to be a lot of sports, student government, clubs, and more opportunities to get involved on campus. So you have plenty of opportunity to figure out what you like, some hobbies, and find some other students that have the same interests as you.
One kind of college and university are liberal arts colleges. Liberal arts colleges are colleges that are geared more towards giving you a general knowledge and developing intellectual capacity than to teaching specific trade, professional, or technical skills. So The theory behind this is that if you're broadly familiar with the liberal arts, which usually include the humanities, so things like philosophy, poetry, literature, the classics, different languages, the arts, music, the natural sciences and mathematics, and the social sciences, if you have a broad knowledge of these will lead you to come and address whatever work or job that you have with a broader knowledge, and that studying these will hone your ability to think critically and solve problems. So, for example, many business leaders from around the world, from Jack Ma, who founded Alibaba in China, to Howard Schultz, who is the CEO of Starbucks, have studied at liberal arts colleges. Students at liberal arts colleges will still choose a major and a minor, but they are often expected to take courses from a range of liberal arts subjects that will give them a broad familiarity with all of the different components of the liberal arts. So at liberal arts colleges, students are allowed to tailor their academic trajectory to their individual interests, and they are often encouraged to study whatever subject they find most interesting, even if it's not a specific professional degree. And liberal arts colleges are generally smaller than other universities and may only have a few thousand students. So there are some that may be as small as 2,000 up to maybe 8,000. Noah, Lonnie, and I are both students at the University of Chicago, which is in many ways a liberal arts school, although it does also have a very strong research foundation. And the undergraduate student body, for reference, is 6,000 students. The liberal arts general education requirements. So many US colleges and universities, even universities that aren't explicitly liberal arts schools themselves, will require that students take low-level classes across the liberal arts so that they do have at least some familiarity with math, science, humanities, and social sciences, and sometimes the arts as well, before they choose a specific major. This ensures that they have explored numerous paths before they commit to studying one thing for all 4 years. If this is a general education requirement at the university you choose to study at, students from all majors will need to complete this requirement. Different schools have different names for this general education requirement. So for example, at Noah, Lonnie, and my school, the University of Chicago, this requirement is called the core. This is meant to introduce students to a range of subjects and ideas, as I said earlier. Majors. So a major is an area of focus in coursework. You will usually have either one or two majors. And this is for undergraduate study. So this is, if you're getting a bachelor's, oftentimes you can apply to a school to study for your bachelor's degree without having a declared major. And you may not need to declare a major until possibly even the end of your second year of the 4 years of your undergraduate study. This gives you time to explore before you commit to a major, which is what it will say that your degree is in. So for example, if I say that I want to major in history, for example, I will receive a Bachelor's of Arts in History. However, you are still able to take classes from across different majors, especially before you commit, so that you can see which you're most interested in. And even after you have declared a major, you can still take classes from other departments if you find them interesting and have space for them in your schedule. You may, as previously mentioned, choose to double major and study 2 different subjects. So you could either, for example, if I want to be a biochemist, I could double major in both biology and chemistry, or I could double major in biochemistry and math, for example, since math might complement math. But alternatively, if you want to be a biochemist and you want to major in biochemistry, but you also just love music, you could double major so that you are majoring in both of those. You should choose a major that will teach you the skills to succeed in your intended occupation rather than the major closest to that occupation. So for example, if you want to go into business, it might still make sense for you to major in physics, as it will give you a strong foundation in the quantitative skills that you will need. Minors. Minors are secondary areas of coursework to complement your major. A minor is usually half of the number of credits required for a major, although this may vary some from college to college. And minors will often be apparent to employers when they look at your transcripts, but depending on the school, they may or may not show up on your diploma or degree certificate. Minors allow you to explore subjects that you enjoy learning about, but which may not be directly applicable to your intended career. So, for example, if I want to be a biochemist and I'm already double majoring in mathematics and biochemistry, but I do still want to be able to take at least a few classes in art, or music, I could get a minor in music. You may be able to double minor in 2 different subjects with a major. So just as you can double major, you can double minor, and all of this just depends on the number of courses that you have room for in your schedule, and what your interests are. And whatever classes, after you've fulfilled the requirement for a major and a minor, you can either choose to work on a double major or double minor, or you can just take classes from across various departments, and these will count as elective credits.
So in the United States, you refer to yourself by what you are. So if you are in your first year of study, you're a freshman. If you're in your second year, you're a sophomore. If you're a third year, you're a junior. And if you're in your fourth year, you're a senior. And depending on which terminology you use, either freshman or first year, that tends to differ between each institution. So some institutions might only go by freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and other institutions maybe will actually go by the number of your year. As far as generations and semesters, we don't really say that I'm in my second semester of my sophomore year. So don't worry about that. But depending on your institution, you might be on semesters or you might be on quarters, which here will likely be referred to as trimesters. But those don't matter as much when you are identifying yourself. Moving into ethics. So in the US, we tend to have very strict policy when it comes to ethics. So you will be expected to cite all of your sources in your essays and your work, even if you don't specifically quote them and use quotations. So make sure that you're giving credit to where credit is due, and cite your sources to avoid looking like you're copying others' work. Moreover, just like probably what isn't tolerated here, you cannot cheat or talk during exams. Plagiarism and cheating might lead you to being failed, suspended, or even expelled. So these consequences are taken very, very seriously in the United States. Many universities will have public honor codes, and so they might send out a statement that addresses issues such as cheating, stealing, misrepresentation, or any misconduct, and will include the consequences. So these will be public. Make sure that you familiarize yourself with these before turning in your assignments, because they are out there, and if you have an excuse that you didn't read them, this will not be tolerated. Students are also required to turn in other students in violation of the code. So if you are suspicious of a student cheating or stealing answers on a test, you will be expected to notify the professor or whoever is in charge. Schedules. So you get a little bit of freedom in the United States. Every student makes their own schedule. So that means that if you prefer to take your classes in the morning, you can design your schedule so that you only have morning classes. If you want to sleep in a little bit, you can design your schedule so that you only have afternoon classes or evening classes. Depending on the course, there may be multiple options for when a course is offered, giving you the flexibility to design your schedule the way you want. And there might be multiple options for how long each class of a course is. So you can decide if you want to take a 1-hour course 3 days a week or an 1.5-hour course twice a week. And in the United States, you must arrive to class before it's scheduled to start. Oftentimes, tardiness will count against your grade, so make sure you show up on time to make sure you're getting those easy points in your class. You can avoid taking classes on Mondays or Fridays if you wish, if you want a 3-day weekend. I always find people lucky when they're able to do that. And a different group of students will be in each of your classes, so you won't be stuck in class with the same students for all of your classes. You will definitely have the chance to meet new people and see new faces. Professors. So professors lead the discussions in labs and give lectures. They grade your essay, they grade your participation, and they grade your other work. That's why it's really important for students to speak with them outside of class if they need help or if they need feedback on their assignment and they don't understand why they got a low grade, or just to discuss course material during office hours that interest them. Office hours are a period of time, maybe once or twice a week, where your professor is available for you to come in and seek help or advice or discuss any material you thought was interesting during class. We also recommend that you try to form relationships with professors, especially professors that teach in the field that you're interested in pursuing. The more that you show up to office hours or participate in class, it shows that you are interested in the subject, and professors will notice that you're putting the effort in. Students, if interested in their field of work, can also help with the professor's research. So if you're interested in economy and you really want to get involved with the econ department, you can ask your professor to see if there are any opportunities for you to work with them on whatever their project is. Another important reason why it's important to form relationships with professors is that you can ask professors for letters of recommendation. So if you are applying for a scholarship or a grant or to grad school, it's really important that you have professors that understand who you are as a student and know what kind of worker you are so that they can put in a good word for you for whatever you need in the future.
Research assistantships. So research assistantships are a kind of job of sorts that students can hold while on campus and studying. So if a student is a research assistant, they will be helping a professor, whether one of their own or just another professor on faculty, with their research. Research assistantships are often paid, not always, but they usually are and probably should be. And the work that you would do for a research assistantship can really vary, especially depending on what subject your professor is working in. But this can often include a literature review of past publications on the subject that your professor is researching. It can include field work and data collection. It might also entail some data entry of that data, data analysis even, using statistics, and possibly more. Again, this varies a lot depending on what your professor is studying. These are a great opportunity to not only get to know professors and build some really close relationships with them, but also to get an introduction into what research is actually like. So for example, if you are considering staying in academia or you think you want to do a PhD, it would be highly recommended that you try to be a research assistant so you can actually get a feel for the research that you would likely be doing for however many years your PhD is, or possibly for your career if you want to be a professor yourself and work in academia. So this is a great way to get an introduction to research in academia, and many graduate programs and scholarships will prioritize students with research experience. Teacher assistantships are another form of job that students can have on campus, although they are different from research assistantships. So departments offer these paid positions to upperclassmen and graduate students, although at least at Nolani in my school, it's more common for these to be offered to graduate students. In order to have a teacher assistantship, you must have very strong spoken English and an excellence in the subject, because you will be assisting the professor not only with grading work, with grading essays, but you may also be teaching some seminars. You may occasionally be leading class, leading a lecture if the professor isn't there, and you may also be teaching writing seminars to first years about how to write an essay. So it's expected that you yourself have mastery over the discipline that you will be teaching, and are also yourself a good writer so that you can help students with this. This is available to students outside of, teacher assistants also need to make themselves available to the students in the class they're helping teach outside of the hours of that class. So just like how Nolani spoke about how professors will hold office hours where students can come and talk to them about course material, teacher assistants will also usually hold office hours, and students can then go to them and ask them any questions about the course material and content. So where should you study? If you go to an American university, you will likely have a lot of homework and you'll need someplace to do that homework. And the good news for you is that there are quite a few options. There are computer labs, as pictured in the top left. There are many libraries, as pictured to the side. There are lots of great coffee shops, like in the bottom left. Coffee shops are a really nice place to study because you have ready access to food, to coffee. Caffeine is always helpful in studying, and they usually just have a really nice atmosphere. You can also study, though, in your dorm or in study rooms in other buildings. Sometimes academic buildings that have faculty offices, they have extra rooms that you can rent and use for study purposes. And if you want to study, well, if as part of studying you want to go to office hours to discuss the course material with the professor, these office hours will likely be held either in the professor's office or in a coffee shop or a library, but generally either that professor's professional space and office or in a public space like a coffee shop or a library. These are just some pictures of some possible study spaces. So in the top left is a computer lab at our university in Chicago. On the bottom left, there are some students working at one of the coffee shops at our school. Like I said, coffee shops are just a really nice place. In the top right, you can see some study rooms, and in the bottom right, you can see some girls studying in their dorm room. Libraries. So libraries are not only a great place to study, but they are also a very valuable resource for you while you will be studying in the US. So libraries allow you to check out books, journals, movies, maps, and other documents for free. So if your professor assigns you a book for class, you could go buy that book, but you can also check to see if your campus's library has that book. So you could just check it out for free and then return it when you're done with it. However, even then, if your library doesn't have a book, it may be possible for them to request that book through Borrow Direct or another borrowing system so that they can then borrow that book from another institution's library so that you can use it as long as you need, and then they can return it on your behalf to that institution. Librarians can help guide your research and can help you find what you need. So for example, if you're having a hard time finding a certain document or a map and you don't know what book it's in, libraries and librarians will have resources that can help you find what you need. And libraries at some American universities are very big and very technologically advanced. So this is the Mansueto Library, which is just one of several libraries on the campus of the University of Chicago. And at first glance, it appears to be just like a giant glass dome or bubble of sorts. Inside, it's very quiet and lots of students work. But actually, it holds many, many books because underneath Mansueto, there are all of these vaults and safes as pictured to the right, and each is pressured and kept at a certain humidity and temperature to help preserve the quality of the books. And you can just go to the library's website, request a book, and if it's being held in Mansueto, robotic claws will go down, open one of these vaults, remove the book from it, and will then have it ready for you to check out. And so for reference, size and looks may be deceiving. So even though Mansueto doesn't appear to be very large, because all of the books are underground, it can hold a lot. So here in Mexico City, I went to La Biblioteca Vasconcelos, which is a very big national library here. And I looked it up, and that holds 580,000 books. That's right, 580,000 books. But Mansueto Library, for reference, holds 3.5 million. So it actually holds around 6 times the number that Biblioteca Vasconcelos holds here in Mexico City. So it holds a lot of books. Here are pictures of just 2 more libraries on our university's campus, just to give you a feel for what you may expect at your university. In the top right, you can see Harper Reading Room, which is a great place to study. Students can go there. It's open 24/7, so you can go and study there whenever you would like, and it will be nice and quiet. And in the bottom left is the Regenstein Library. The Regenstein Library not only has study spaces, but it also has a lot of books. In fact, it has 4 million books. Actually, sorry, I think 4.5 million books. So it has approximately 8 times the number of books held in La Biblioteca Vasconcelos.
All right, so wrap up what we're talking about today, we're going to end with college and sports. College sports tend to be a huge deal in the US. This being said, many of the games will be televised. So if you don't want to deal with the crowds and go to one of the games, you could always host a watch party in your apartment, have people over and watch the game on TV. Many students go to the home games, especially for football and basketball. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of people are cheering. It's a good atmosphere. And it's just a good way to take a break from your studies and spend time with your friends. At these games, most of the students own and wear apparel for their school's team to show school spirit, and even alumni who went to the school in the past will come back and visit during the games and wear their apparel of their alma mater. Sometimes even community members who aren't even affiliated with the university will come and wear the team's apparel and show support. And it's also a big deal because students can actually earn scholarships to colleges for athletics. You see a lot of that with especially football and basketball. Other sports that people go watch are soccer, volleyball, honestly anything that gets people excited to take a break and cheer on their friends and classmates. So here are some pictures of what a college game might look like at your future university or college. You can see that in the upper left, I think they're the Cougars. They have their mascot letters written across their chest. It's a sea of red, so obviously the school colors are red and white. On the right, you can see how big that stadium is for a college football game. So oftentimes at big universities where sports are very, very important, they will fill all of those seats. And you can imagine how exciting that is being among the crowd and cheering on people you have class with. And the bottom, basketball. So also just another sport that people get really, really into in the US. So that concludes the information that we've prepared for academic culture. And before we go into questions, we just wanted to advertise some of the events here if you're in Mexico City. So every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., we've been having SAT practice sessions. This is an opportunity for you to come in and take a practice SAT test with us, and a portion of the test anyway. And we go over the problems at the end and go over anything that you had trouble with so that you can improve your score before having to take the test.
We also offer a summer conversation club, which meets twice a week on Mondays from 4 to 5 p.m. and on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to noon. And this is a great way for you to practice your English. We have different topics every week, and it'll be a great chance for you to not only listen to other people speaking English and improve your listening skills, but also for you yourself to improve your speaking skills. So if you're preparing for the TOEFL or the IELTS or another English proficiency test, and you want some extra practice, we highly encourage you to come to this. And you can register at the link on the flyer.
We also have a summer game night coming up this Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. We will be playing games that get you to practice your English and think on your feet. It's a really good opportunity to come, have some fun, meet other people that are living in the area, and have a good time with us.
We also offer information sessions about what you need in order to apply successfully and then enroll in a university in the United States. So if you would like to study undergraduate for an undergraduate degree in the United States, for example, for a bachelor's degree, we have an info session. We actually have an info session in half an hour here at 5 p.m. and we have another info session this week for undergraduate information on Thursday, the 25th of July at 11 a.m. We will go over everything that you need to know in order to apply, about different kinds of institutions, how to find scholarships, about the different standardized tests that you need, and how to write a good essay. So if you are interested in studying undergraduate for an undergraduate degree in the United States, please come to this info session.
Okay, so we also have another event that will be talking about community colleges. So if you are curious about what it's like to study at a community college, what the difference is maybe between a community college and a university, maybe you want to just save a little bit of money because you don't really know what you want to study yet before transferring. All of that information will be shared at this session, which will be August 2nd. It's a little cut off, but it says August 2nd At 9 a.m. It says 10 a.m. on the flyer because that's Eastern time, but if you live in Mexico City, it will be at 9 a.m. And that will be a Facebook Live event. And the link is facebook.com/educationusa. Further details can be found on this bit.ly link. We have all of the events we just talked about and more listed on our blog, which is this link. And if you don't live in the area and you're curious to know what the Education USA centers near you offer you, make sure that you check with them to see if you can participate in any of their activities.
Great. So now, does anybody have any questions? If you have any questions, please type them on the side of the webinar, and we will answer them as soon as you type them. We'll stick around for a few minutes. So yeah.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. And we will see you next week for our webinar on the coalition and common applications.
All right, take care. Thank you.